Hey guys, Disciplined Magic here, and it looks like we got two new cards from Kaldheim. One is apparently a leak, and the other one is a spoiler for some reason, even though they're not doing that until, I don't know, first week in January. So first up, we've got a cell phone shot. Oh my gosh, it's actually clear, high res, and taken like somebody almost gives a crap. Their phone and or a hand is casting a shadow and there's a glare on it, so, 6 out of 10, but at least they almost knew what they were doing. By the way, one just quick little aside here. You're probably wondering, how are cell phone shots of paper products going out? Who has these this far ahead of time? Because it isn't like, oh, it's a week ahead of time and they landed in Australia early and somebody opened one. Okay, whatever, cool. This is like, holy crap, where are they coming from? So, everybody thinks, oh, disgruntled Wizards of the Coast employee or some theft or some, some cloak and dagger crap. But no, there was a video that came out, at least with the first two. I don't know about this one, but the first two that got leaked, that they just said, oh, I opened a pack of Commander Legends and these were inside. Which I don't even want to get into how I used to work at a printing facility and that's literally impossible. How the projects are separated, how you recalibrate the machines between projects, and just no. That didn't happen. I can say with 99% confidence their story about that happening is just as legitimate as the guy who's like, I went to Walgreens and opened a pack and it had all the wrong cards in it. Ha ha ha. No, that's your cover story, and if you're trying to convince Wizards that's what happened, you're an idiot because they know how their supply chain works. So don't believe it. And honestly, most people don't, based on the thumbs down ratio on that video. And have fun with Wizards' investigation team. That's all I have to say. And I should mention, yeah, Wizards could do it on purpose. It's just there's no history of them doing that, like putting a couple cards from a different set in there as like a, whoa, ultra rare find. Oh, look at this, to get hype and to get, popularity, because they don't know if that box, the one box they seed, will end up on a shelf somewhere for 10 years. And then if they hit like 5 boxes with these, it would be really obvious what they're doing. So I don't think they like hit them in there purposely. Plus, that would be really hard to do, to have them run off like one sheet, cut it, and then distribute the cards into a couple packs. And it takes a while to set up new digital files and new sheets at a printing facility. That's just how it works. So I'm not buying it, whether Wizards did it on purpose, that conspiracy theory, or these people just kind of opened it on accident as some kind of printing flaw. I don't buy either of those stories because they're just basically impossible. So just as a little aside, you should not believe it either. So back to the card. So it's the Blood Sky Massacre. It's a rare saga, and the first stage here is created 2/3 red demon berserker creature token with menace, which sounds pretty decent. I think they need to get menace going a little bit more. It does prevent a little bit of the, okay, I've got a line of creatures and you've got a line of creatures and we're going to sit here and stare at each other. It's like, okay, well, if the power and toughness still don't add up, you're still not getting through, but at least they would technically need to assign blockers a little differently, and they've, for all intents and purposes, have less blockers then because every menace creature requires 2. So that does shake things up a little bit. It does make for interesting gameplay. So the fact that we know a token exists with menace that's a berserker subtype or whatever, and it's a 2/3, we know this is an equipment-heavy deck, that is pretty promising. Unfortunately, they've already spoiled some cards that are not so promising for the standard meta. In fact, if they literally released an entire set of nothing but lands and called it Kaldheim, standard would still be terrible because it's terrible right now. But it's interesting to look at these, I guess for draft or something, I don't know. So stage 2 is whenever a berserker attacks this turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So it's not you are doing this. So, hope you wanted to attack and hope you needed the cards. Hope you didn't need the life total, but see, that's the thing. That's how berserkers allegedly work. I mean, in pretend history. They didn't care about injury. They just powered through everything. They didn't wear armor, etc. Some of that's true. Some of that's exaggerated. It was really an intimidation thing. It was all for show, and they didn't all work that way. But number 3 here is add 1 red mana to your mana pool for each berserker you control. Nice. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. That's good, because we all know when this goes off, and if you can't spend the mana at basically instant speed during that phase, well, then you've got a problem. So the fact that it floats into your first and even second main phase is like really nice. I think it's fun. It's an interesting, time delayed, slow, but like really good, powerful, appropriately costed card that supports the Berserker archetype. So whatever tribal or tribal hybrid deck this ends up being, this looks like the card for it without being like utterly broken. But, if I was playing Berserkers, would I want to put this in my deck? absolutely 100%, probably 4 of it. So it makes you wonder, why can't they design all the cards like this? How hard would that possibly be? Interesting, powerful, but slow and appropriate. I mean, there's so many cards I can name right now, even in standard, that are, that. Like, even just that blue Kraken that brings out a token that gets bigger every time you draw a card, but only if you pay for it. That is such a good card. But it's not, like, crazy overpowered. It's just good. And it's interesting. It goes wide while going tall, but you have to draw a card, and you have to pay mana for it constantly. So it's like, you gotta support it. It's a slow burn. It works up. Or I should say, like, builds up over time. It's oppressively powerful, but it gives your opponent enough room to breathe, you know what I mean? So I like the build-up cards. That's why I inherently like sagas. And I think they're a healthy place for the game to go, so I hope they keep doing them. I mean, we've had, at least 3 sets with them now, so yeah. So next up, we have a very disappointing squirrel, because it's clearly a lizard, unless he's wearing a mask or something. But allegedly, it's Toski, Bearer of Secrets. He's totally, definitely a mammalian squirrel. I'm not buying it. They just called it a squirrel because squirrels, and it's a lizard. I mean, cut the crap, wizards. And it's a 4-cost 1/1. Like I said, legendary creature squirrel. This spell can't be countered. Well, thank God. Indestructible, why not? And it attacks each combat if able. Okay, and then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Now see, that's huge. Okay, with it being a 1/1 creature with indestructible, I don't care that it swings away every turn. What are they going to do? I mean, settle the wreckage? We are overdue for a little targeted small version of Settle the Wreckage, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I think he's basically, with those stats, just an enchantment. He's a 4-cost, just sit there and whatever, like an artifact or whatever. Just a permanent with a good perpetual ability. So normally I would like this card because the on-hit effect, like, you earned it. You got through to them. You maybe took a chance. You maybe burned a boost that gives it flying and then you hit them. Like, whatever you did, it's like, okay, every time you swing, it's a risk, but you took the risk because you want a card. Maybe it worked out. Maybe you just drew lands. Maybe it wasn't safe to swing. Maybe you're going to take 7 damage on the counter swing. But it's like, it's a very intelligent, planned, high skill play decision, which is also very beneficial for the game. Complex decisions where it's skill instead of draw luck, and it's skill and decision making versus deck construction. That's the way they wanted to push the game, and then they, I don't know, changed their minds or forgot or something. I don't know what they did. They screwed it all up is what they did. So like I said, normally I would love this card because it's not too powerful. It's just good, and it's appropriately costed, even in green. But right now, the number one problem with green is too much card draw. I mean, they practically turned it into blue. I think the most reliable, low-cost, appropriately playable card draw, just by sheer card volume, is currently in green, and that should never be the case. That's insane. It should be blue. I mean, that whole 4 or greater thing, and then you got the Great Henge, those are primarily the problems. Then you got Elder Gargaroth on top of it, and it's just too much. In Brawl and in Standard Constructed, it is too damn much. So now we're adding this to it, an on-hit effect, when we've already got Trample as a mechanic still in the game. That's a yikes from me, bro. So I do like this card. I just think it's, very poor timing. We do not need to give green more card draw. That's insane. So, guess we're still going to be seeing mono green for a while. Not that many people playing it right now in the standard meta, but it's still a good, solid deck. It's just, there's even more degenerate broken stuff out there. But in Brawl, I would say a good 50% of the players are playing, green, like mono green or green mix. So, I mean, you make this your commander instead of Yorvoth? Are you kidding me? Like, of course they would. Like, that's what the deck does. This would be a better fit. Plus a commander with permanent indestructibility. I mean, damn. This thing is going to be wild in Brawl. I know as soon as this comes out, I'm going to build the deck. So those two are it, but boy, a lot to think about. Very interesting cards. I do, I guess, kind of like both cards. I like one more than the other as far as in context, but they're interesting. It's good card design, it's solid, and, what more is there to say? So I guess we'll see what the draft environment looks like, what the Brawl scene looks like after the set drops, and right now that's about all I'm interested in, unfortunately. That's just the way they've pushed things. So with that, I'm going to go eat a bunch of 75% off Christmas candy and probably pass out on the floor. I'll see you guys next video.